Brilliant. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Slam Lines number 3. Remember, Slam Lines is not a slam, but it is for slam poets. I'm Josephine Lay from the Gloucestershire Poetry Society, and we're welcoming you today. We've got a good lineup, and we have a co-host, Brian Reid, who I will introduce to you in a moment. We've done our open mic draw already, so we have 3 open mic people going to read during the middle of our program. Okay, I think straight away I'm going to start. Unfortunately, we were going to have Stefan Mohammed as one of our poets, but he's unfortunately had to withdraw due to illness. So we wish him well. But because of that, I am going to read a poem to in his place. Now, I'm not I will say straight away, I'm not a slam poet. But this one I wrote the other day, and it was kind of thinking back to a relationship I had a long way in the past. So probably be self-explanatory. It's called The Naked Wolf. The naked wolf was gone out into the night to howl at the moon, and left her his pelt, a discarded legacy, moth-eaten, thin, the burden of debt, which she wears like a hair shirt next to the skin, a constant irritant she's grown used to. She lights candles to counter the dark and watches the memories flicker. How he'd always stand when she was seated, how he'd greet her with a supercilious air, and all the tiny jibes that slid from his lips as they curled into that smile. A smile she used to think so charming when the bouquets were fresh, the hotel rooms sumptuous, the meals cordon bleu. She keeps the shirt to remind her of what she's escaped. It warms when the electric founders through lack of funds. She curls up in his pelt to curse. May your teeth rot in your mouth. May the pads of your pores be frostbitten, and may your skin show the types of the hyena you are. Thank you.
Feel free to unmute.
Oh yeah, I should have said that. If you wish to unmute, to give an applause and then mute again while people are reading, that would be brilliant.
I am muted.
Well, okay, well done.
Nice work.
Okay, and next I'm going to introduce Brian, who's going to be our co-host tonight. Brian Reid is a writer, a wordmonger, actor, MC, full-time thinker, and an occasional worrier. So please can we have a big hand for Brian Reid.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, even though I wrote them. Okay. I'm just really chuffed to be here and to be asked to host this event after disgracing myself at the last such event, which was hosted by our good friend Chloe Jacquet. But everybody was really nice to me, so I've come back for more. Yeah, I haven't written anything really properly for ages because sort of life's just been shit. Okay, and every time you try and write something, you just go down this pathway into the shit again, right? And you just want to chuck it away and start again. Well, that's what's been happening to me. So anyway, I finally decided to go with the darkness. Okay, right, so this is called Isolation Blues. Lost in a diffused reality, lined, blurred by trepidation, a fever grips, steely, unflinching, tentacles, coercive and undeniable, that knot in your pit that gnaws, insistently persistent, so deep you're no longer resistant. There's no center, no home, accursed, muddied, hands and knees deep in a tough mutter. Sparks are unseen. Love is a facsimile and somehow unclean. and paranoia walks my hinterland while giants haunt the horizon. I want to break this cycle of despond. I need to find a way to respond, pushing through the shit of life, maintaining equilibrium in the cackling face of strife, screaming at the void, bracing for the wind of progress, and shipwrecked in an alien landscape because new rules apply, but tradition is a ball and chain. A grasping, turging, cloying stain. A constant sniping, repeated refrain. Sealed tight with a boundary of fear, a spaceship with no airlock, a not so magic carpet whose undulations encroach. It's the seasickness of the soul, an unbearable black hole of being from where nothing bright can emanate. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for that. I'm hearing my voice in your echoes. All right, now I've got to find my intros that Pete and Richie just sent me just before the program started. All right, so forgive me. I knew this was going to happen. Our first invitee tonight is E. Piper. And where is her bio? There's her bio. Here, a Mancunian voice spreading her roots in the southwest, buzzing for a chance to dance. E. Piper, welcome. Hello, E.
Hello.
Hello, E.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go then. Back, looking in the mirror, dusty pink, the ladies, safe expanse, taking pics the night I fucked it, trying to chase your drink, I could never catch it. It was just us, we looked good in my red, black, your blonde leopard print, species of the sundown, everything charged, outlines static, flash, lean long necks and retract, the landscape vast. We are made up of foundation, dark eyes, hair down. It only takes a few to sink our feet into home's ground, on a jagged trajectory, down into the club, wet air about to spark, pressure localized, everything charged. The clouds roll in, vibrating scene, air sharp and clean, seismic, the build up for tonight, positive. Just us, we looked good and got smashed, danced to jungle. In my red, black, your blonde leopard print, pressing through booze queues, storm the bar, hard, chasing your drink, rum, tropical. We are made up of hot, rotating air, positive build-up, wet, about to spark. We span around the shifting faces, boys, ice laced with thunder, a distant rumble, outlines a sense, a flip switch, surroundings turn around us, seismic and static, crack, static and seismic, around us the surroundings turn, switch, a sense of thunder, flipped, outlines rubbed on, distant boys' eyes, laced with shift, faces around span negative, built up regret, about to spark, hot air rotating, run, tropical storm, chasing your drink, the bar, it caught up with us, hard, in my pressing, cued bruise, red, black, did wrong, left a print, we looked smashed to jungle, seismic, tonight build up negative, sharp and clean, the clouds roll out, vibrating dark, localized release, charged everything, out of the club, a jagged trajectory, it only takes a few, our feet sink into home grounds, we are made up of dark eyes, hair downpour, flash, flood foundations, the landscape cracked. Type long text and retract. Static outlines, species of the come down. In my red, black, your blonde leopard print. We looked. It was just us. Good. The night I fucked it. Piss take. Trying to chase your drink. I could never catch it. The ladies, dusty pink, safe expense. In the mirror, looking back.
Woo.
Thank you.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. That's Eve Piper from Manchester, but in the southwest now. Welcome. Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen now is we are going to hear from our 4 open micers before our final invited guests take over at the end. All right, so first of all, I'd like to call on, are you ready, Clive?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's just that you're the addition, and also you've got a gig later, haven't you? All right.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll be here till the end, come what may. But yeah,
okay,
I'm ready.
All right. Okay, so as long as everybody's happy with that. All
Yeah,
right, so,
I'm ready.
ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clive Oseman.
Right, no wig or crown tonight. But I do have to say that you do have to use your imagination a little bit for this one, because if you think my Queen impression is shit, at least it has the redeeming feature of being funny. Whereas this is an impression that has no redeeming features whatsoever. So you're going to have to close your eyes and imagine that I'm David Attenborough, okay? So, here we go.
Oh dear.
I've now muted the sound effects as I am actually in Great Britain, but the producer wanted to lure viewers with a taste for the exotic. Take a look at this. This very unusual creature, thought to be the sole specimen remaining on the planet, is the Boris Johnson. Scientifically known as Arrogantus masturbatus, it is thought to be a descendant of the obscure Diffeffel, which was a creature expelled from the bowels of Satan. The Boris Johnson likes to appear as a cuddly, buffoon-like animal, and those who are fooled into believing this are prone to call it just plain Boris or Bojo. It is not understood why Arrogantus masturbatus wears a mop on its head. Some say Donald Trump visited the zoo from which it escaped, and the creature mistook him for a normal specimen of the species and decided to mimic it, though this is disputed. There are undoubtedly some similarities. Those who have studied the Boris Johnsons say it is so sure of its superiority it would never mimic anything. The Boris Johnson has some human traits, and in fact can talk in English. One of the most intriguing features observed in it is that when it feels cornered, it starts blustering on about ancient Greece as a method of distraction. When this doesn't work, it hides in the nearest refrigerator. In Britain, it is seen as a saviour which protected them from the dreaded Jeremy Corbyn and got them a blue passport. But ever since it was discovered in the grounds of Eton, it has been clear to those with a brain that it is a nasty, duplicitous and dangerous thing, which will do anything necessary to gain territory. Some commentators believe it is actually a mutation of a human being who spent too much time near a nuclear power plant, though, in my view, the Diffeffel theory is the most likely. A creature crapped from the bowels of Satan who, somewhere along the line, had sex with a human being who would reproduce with anything does seem the most logical explanation. Indeed, it explains a lot. Further studies need to be carried out, but one thing is sure. This creature is not to be crossed, There is a document in existence of it arranging to have a journalist beaten up. Nothing too serious, just some broken ribs and whatnot. It is indeed a world-beating arsehole, to be approached with extreme caution. Do not be fooled. This is no playful buffoon. This is David Attenborough reporting from Westminster. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I don't know, but anybody that can make David Attenborough subversive in the eyes of the establishment is doing okay by me. Okay, people, thanks for that, Clive. Moving swiftly on. So our next open micer this evening is our part of that wonderful setup at the GPS, and his name is Peter Lay.
Thank you.
Hello, Peter. Come on.
Okay, so I'm gonna carry on with a slight political rant, something that's annoyed me over the last few months, and I wrote something down a couple of weeks ago, and I've never read it out, so I have no idea how it's going to go. It's called "I Am Angry," and it goes something like this. 2015, a make weight in a leadership contest, a sop to the left. He won. The membership swelled with new hope. The Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn became the biggest political party in Europe. 2017, despite being undermined by the Labour grandees, attacked with lies and vitriol by the right-wing media, terrified by the thought of social revolution, a change to the face of Britain. Remember Glastonbury? He came so close to becoming Prime Minister. It should have been his moment, our moment. 2019. We still had the chance to continue the fight. We campaigned hard, but the damage was done. The chance, the momentum was gone. We lost. He resigned. 2020, they turned to a grey man with a grey voice, speaking grey words about grey policies, who paid off the abusers, fed the lies, silenced the supporters, dumped Becky, sacrificed Corbyn on the altar of his own ambition inside his own grey world. 2021. I am angry. Corbyn, you will not be forgotten. I walk away with many others. My time is done. I am angry. Thank you.
There's not many Labour supporters that wouldn't echo. There aren't many Labour supporters that wouldn't echo those sentiments. Thank you. Okay, moving swiftly on. Okay, next up is a lady that I've only just got to know over the last couple of months, mostly via this. All right, so please welcome Karen Herrmann. As soon as she gets herself off.
Good evening, everybody. This is only the second time I've done this.
Perfect.
And I'm having to read it off my phone because I couldn't figure out how to print it off the group page, because that's the only place I've written it. Anyway, it's called Fear and Doubt. I used to write very funny stuff all the time, but that's not what's emerging at the moment. So this is called Fear and Doubt. If I tell the truth to him, he may just cut and run. If I never say a word, it will always be between us, a rank, foul, stinking thing. I will know its presence. He'll just know something's wrong. He'll be terribly confused, and I'll be afraid and numb. He and I can't live like that. This must stop now, at once. We really need to talk, I say, those words that make men quake. He says he'd really like that, so of course I start to shake. He doesn't think it's my fault. He says I'm not to blame. They've lied to you for years, he says. It's them should be ashamed. Stepping forward softly, he wipes away my tears. He strokes my face so gently. He says I'm very dear. If you have a dirty secret, and it's dogged your life for years, Allow yourself to trust someone who cares enough to know you and stand with you in your truth. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you, Karen. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So our last open micer this evening is Juanita Ray.
Right.
Welcome.
Thank you. Content warning, this piece is called I'm a Woman Who Walks Alone at Night. So, I'm a woman who walks alone at night, and I want to tell you why. I walk to breathe, I walk to live, to savor sight and sound and sky. Don't think for a moment that I'm unaware of the risk of possible attack, for I have lived in many lands, bearing history on my back. I'm a woman who walks alone at night, walking into peaceful protests in Khartoum, walking not knowing if the army will turn up, walking, not caring, just walking for Sudan's freedom. Don't think for a moment that I'm unaware of children, women, abused, murdered, raped, refugees, prisoners of military rule, religious, tribal divide and hate. I'm a woman who walks alone at night. In the Philippines, I walk the streets of Manila in my shorts and skirts and strappy floral dresses that one wears on the islands of perpetual summer. Don't think for a moment that I'm unaware of the casualties of poverty, drug wars, and oppression, and that bare arms and bare legs suggest invitation in religiously affirmed deprivation. I'm a woman who walks alone at night and in the crowded streets of South Korea face groping and constant coming too close of old men and even students to teacher. A moment that I'm unaware of the impact of the many, many wars and the involvement of might in the division of people who survive and bear the scars. I'm a woman who walks alone at night. And in India, my brothers strove to stay at my side. Brothers not through blood, yet through trust and love. Brothers who know that murder and rape in India is rife. Don't think for a moment that I could forget that my face, my blood has roots in India. I am South African, born, schooled, and lived. I know that patriarchy and misogyny is everywhere. I'm a woman who walks alone at night in South Africa with the highest incidence of rape in the world. Though my childhood rape, it was unreported, for family name could not be soiled. Don't think for a moment that I'm unaware of the prevalence of poverty and crime and the all-pervading historical impact of colonialism and racial divide. I'm a woman who walks alone at night, and I will continue to walk. It is my right, my life, my earth, in glorious light and glorious dark. For when I walk with eyes open. I know where I am walking. I know the past, yet I walk in the present, the present that I am shaping. Don't dare suggest what I wear, where I walk plays a role because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman. Because I'm a woman, therein lie truths untold. I'm a woman who walks alone at night. I'm a woman who walks alone at night. I'm a woman who walks alone at night. I'm a woman who walks. I'm a woman who walks. I'm a woman.
Hell yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah. Thank you, Juanita. That was amazing. Right. Sorry, I'm a bit breathless actually. I held my breath for so long listening to that poem. Okay, so nobody should have to follow that, but sadly, not sadly at all, it's Callum Winslow is our next guest. All right, and Callum is he was the runner-up in last year's Hammer and Tongue Bristol Regional Final. All right, so let's take it away, Callum Winslow.
Oh, yeah. I write about grief at the moment, so I feel like the energy's going to come down. So apologies in advance, but fucking hell, yeah, that's a hard poem to follow. Well done. We're a week removed from being a year away from the last time I spoke to my dad. I wanted to do something new, but I can't stop thinking about that for obvious reasons. So I'm going to do a poem that I wrote earlier last year when I was still going through the grieving process. I say as if I'm not still going through it. This is called The Morning the Trees Disappeared. Oh yeah, trigger warning for grief. If anyone is not feeling all too well, feel free to mute yourself for the next maybe 2 and a bit minutes or so. I forget how long this poem is, but yeah, no hard feelings. If this is not your thing this evening, look after yourself. The morning the trees disappeared, the breeze was a chorus unfiltered, loud and unending, calling us to wake. You have not lost everything, it sang, in a language that no one understood well enough to think that all had not been lost. In our home there was little difference. Our tree had uprooted long ago. We gathered by the hole it had left, drank tea because there was nothing else to do. I tried to remember the trees. I left the house in search of closed-off spaces. I found a river, a place I knew that trees would have enjoyed growing by. I phoned a friend. She told me that the woodlands had been empty for years. I asked how it felt to breathe. She gave me advice on cultivating flowers, that there is a community of gardeners for whom the trees have already disappeared. She said that the world carries on the same. You notice it everywhere at first. You will walk through the park watching children run around empty space. Your first Christmas, you will wonder where to leave the star. You will find new ways of getting tinsel everywhere. Eventually, you will learn to appreciate the openness as a gift the trees left behind. You will see the sun more. You will feel the rain heavier. You will understand the breeze as it sings. You have not lost everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Callum Winslow. That was fantastic. All right, and that's how you follow a really good poem with another one. All right, thank you, Callum. Okay, next up. All right, our next featured artist is Lexia Tomlinson. She's an actress, poet, a true daydreamer. Her thoughts and fantasies bring us magical poems rooted in the world's social, political issues. Take it away, Lexia.
Good afternoon. Just checking you can hear me. Sometimes my mic plays.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. I was debating whether to do a new or an old piece, but the new piece I wanted to do when I timed it was pretty short, so didn't want to waste my time. I'm going to do a piece for you called Bret Manifesto. Another weekend, another protest. The crowd is dotted with the odd black beret of tired, tie-dyed t-shirts. All who are wearing the aforementioned have them tipped to the side. If only they realized it wasn't just their caps that were skewed, bent, out of style, and somewhat redundant. There is a war coming, the ringleader bellows. His face fresh with youth, yet not feasted on by fear, or lined where death would have flirted, signals he knows not what he speaks of. Fist pumping in and plunging out of the air with vigorous rapture, the innocent sky takes another beating. Oh, all that she has witnessed, yet to witness, the tales she will tell when her time comes to speak. No wonder she is blue and black, burning up pink and bursting purple in the indigo eve when she can bear no more. No wonder the weather reports are always wrong. They say nature is a woman, the highest of them all, our mother. Yet we dare to disrespect and destroy her. No wonder no one likes getting caught in winter showers, when raindrops launch like assault-course spears and pierce our flesh. For who can bear to stand to see their mother cry, even if they do not like her? No, there isn't. From the direction of stairs, it must have been a rolling internal heckle, for all eyes are still locked onto this self-proclaimed leader, in his standard issue lace-up black boots, scuffed and marked unlike a soldier, unwashed army-issued jacket purchased from Oxfam. There is no war coming. There has been and never will be. It's always been here. I want to scream until my throat is raw with the friction and force that it takes to treat that statement. For the war is the mist that rises from the blocks of dry ice, and in the grand play we call life, the blocks have been placed into the wings of the stage, and every time they melt and the mist clears, a time of clarity and harmony, oh, sweet peace. Some stagehand with grand visions, their vision, not the ensemble, cocks up the play and replenishes the ice. In a different show across town, I hear they have the same problem. And what do we do with problems? We try to solve them. Leader 2.5 pushes Leader 2.0 off his soapbox and promises to make the air cleaner across town. The crowd cheers. The crowd. I'm out.
No, you're still there.
Sorry, someone was shouting.
Yeah,
that-
well, somebody's. I think somebody's just muted.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. I'll just go back from that stanza.
Mhm.
And what do we do with problems? We try to solve them. Leader 2.5 pushes Leader 2.0 off his soapbox and promises to make the air cleaner across town. The crowd cheers, not realizing or not quite caring that ours isn't much better, if not worse for wear. Can they not see this man is not qualified to be our director? It's as if they've forgotten, even though the show must go on, there is a war at home. You take your eye off the ball, next thing you know, own goal, director is now dictator. We trade in our reality for roles every day, our senses for an act. We don masks now. When I shoot you in the heart, my mind doesn't want to witness lifelines ripping from your face. So we agree to give our rights to express how we feel, thinking we're killing the enemy from behind our prisons. Jim Morrison said it best. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there's a personal revolution on an individual level. It's got to happen inside first. And I don't know how to end the war. All I know is one universal truth is a lie.
Thank you, Lexia, and apologies for the interruption. Last, but by no means least, and a lady that I'm looking forward to hearing from, because I just read the title of her book, is a poet and writer from Derby. Her latest collection, The Man Who Ate 50,000 Weetabix, comes out in April. Take it away, Sophie.
Hey up, everyone. Yeah, sick poetry going on tonight. I kept forgetting I had to read because my heart was just going all over the place. It's been a while. I'm out of practice. Okay. So the poem that I'm gonna read tonight is about my friend who bought a saxophone during lockdown. It's called Sax at Watford Gap. There's always something intimate about service stations. Strangers pissing side by side, piling together waste as though building a monument to the straight concrete roads which enable life to slip past the landscape. In an era where speed is a destination, X doesn't normally mark the spot by a building that fills and empties like the tide. Yet here we are, cars parked side by side, stood between rows of bumpers close enough to kiss. He crosses the white line and lowers the case to the concrete before retreating to the safety of his wing mirror. And I, all fingers and thumbs, lift it to my chest as if newborn and crack open the shell. Inside, a small bronze body reflects the streetlight, swan-necked, keys waiting to be touched. He knows that I have longed for you, scaled the corners of my darkness, where slowness is a scripture held between my teeth. The three of us walk the embankment, stare at the McDonald's sign, a landmark amongst the gulls. Two strangers and you, a bucket chain of sand, passed from generation to generation between the empty Coke cans and the old newspaper headlines. Headlights stream off your body as he drives into the night, joining the tarmac's constellations. I shall never see him again, but together we held a gap between us as fresh and sensitive as the wound a milk tooth leaves when it detaches itself from the gum. It gives me comfort to think hundreds have sat here, some as unsure as me, feet dangling from the edge of this hour hand, thinking back to a time where they didn't have to sprint to the next season. They say jazz is all about the silence between the notes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness! I tell you what, I'm absolutely stunned. Okay, because here we are. There's only a few of us. Okay, but like there's the whole thing's right there, isn't it? Just in this little small gathering. All right, there's every expression of invention, anger, just amazing lines, incredible delivery, humor, gross Latin. You know, I still sort of, I'm glad I was muted when you said arrogantus masturbatus, because it was a bit like a biggest dickus moment in poetry. Do you know what I mean? Where you just can't help yourself. All right,
Anyway,
but I'm going to say thank you so much for giving me the honour of presenting this, and please let's do this again soon.
It's been our pleasure.
Take it away, Josephine Ray.
Thank you, Brian. That's brilliant. Can I just have a round of applause for everybody who's appeared?
Absolutely.
So that's Brian Reed, Eve Piper, Peter Lay, Clive Osman, Karen Herrmann, just seen. Oh God. Can we all mute for a moment? I don't know what's happened, but when you get that feedback, it is terrible. So just again, I'm going to read three names after that, and please give a big round of applause when I've finished. So Callum Winslow, Lexia Tomlinson, and Sophie Sparham. And now unmute and clap. Okay, well, this was the last Slam Lines in the current series. It probably will be back next year, but maybe with a slight twist. I'm Josephine Lay. This was Brian Reed. This has been Slam Lines. Thank you and good night.
Bye.